Clinton created ISIS with Obama. Created with Obama.
As I've said before, this aspect of our strategy was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
So if you think if we walked away from this, didn't give them money today, it would be worse for us from a security standpoint?
I do. We're building a relationship that just did not exist. I said in our last trip when you were with me that we had a huge trust deficit, in part because the United States had, to be fair, we had helped to create the problem we're now fighting.
How?
Because when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, we had this brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else to go after the Soviets inside Afghanistan. And we were successful. The Soviets left Afghanistan, and then we said, great, goodbye, leaving these trained people who were fanatical in Afghanistan and Pakistan, leaving them well armed, creating a mess, frankly, that at the time we didn't really recognize. We were just so happy to see the Soviet Union fall, and we thought, okay, fine, we're okay now. Everything's going to be so much better. Now you look back, the people we're fighting today, we were supporting in the fight against the Soviets.
We also have a history of kind of moving in and out of Pakistan. I mean, let's remember here, the people we are fighting today, we funded 20 years ago. And we did it because we were locked in this struggle with the Soviet Union. They invaded Afghanistan, and we did not want to see them control Central Asia. And we went to work. And it was President Reagan, in partnership with the Congress, led by Democrats, who said, you know what, sounds like a pretty good idea. Let's deal with the ISI and the Pakistani military, and let's go recruit these mujahideen, and let's get some to come from Saudi Arabia and other places, importing their Wahhabi brand of Islam, so that we can go beat the Soviet Union. And guess what? They retreated. They lost billions of dollars, and it led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. So there's a very strong argument, which is, wasn't a bad investment to end the Soviet Union, but let's be careful what we sow, because we will harvest.
He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear.
So we then left Pakistan. We said, okay, fine, you deal with the stingers that we've left all over your country. You deal with the mines that are along the border. And by the way, we don't want to have anything to do with you. In fact, we're sanctioning you. So we stopped dealing with the Pakistani military and with ISI, and we now are making up for a lot of lost time. But let's be careful what we sow, because we will harvest.
There once was a farmer who sowed good seed on good ground. But while he slept, an enemy came and sowed tares in among the wheat. Now, a tare is a poisonous weed which looks a lot like wheat in its early stages. If eaten by a person or an animal, nausea would occur, convulsions, and in certain circumstances, even the possibility of death. This was a spiteful act of malice. The enemy had nothing to gain except to ruin the wheat crop of the farmer. Some of the farmer's hired workers came and asked him why he did not sow good seed into his fields. Look at all these weeds, they said. But the farmer replied, "An enemy did this." Then the workers asked if they should remove the tares and leave the wheat. To this the farmer said no. It's easier to tell the difference at harvest time. Besides, if we remove the tares now, we risk ripping up the wheat along with them. Let them grow together until harvest. At that time, I will tell the workers, first collect the weeds, tie them in bundles to be burned, and then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn. Matthew 13:43. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let them hear.
That comes from the Iraqi army, all of whom came from this relatively successful, very large army that we dissolved with very little thought beforehand and sent 400,000 young men onto the streets without any salaries and with simply their guns. So we humiliated these people. We laid the seeds down for the insurgency without a doubt. In effect, the United States created ISIS. Nothing like it existed before the American occupation. It was an insurgency that battened on the hatred of the Americans and the vulnerability and hatred of the Sunnis for the Shia. There's no way to understand it happening without the Americans there, because it built itself like a kind of bacterial host on the American occupation. We created it, it's ours, and now we're trying to deal with the consequences. Not for the first time, the United States has shown itself to be a strange hybrid creature, military giant and political dwarf. But Iraq is not Lebanon, from which the U.S. could sail away and invade Grenada. The stakes are much higher. In the words of Hassan Salameh, the former Lebanese government minister and scholar who was working for the UN headquarters in Baghdad when it was bombed, you can't just get up and walk away from Iraq like you did Lebanon. No matter how bad it gets, if Iraq turns into anarchy, it's likely to spill into the rest of the Gulf. It would be a catastrophe. I think it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Watch out what you wish for, you will create it. And that is exactly what the United States ended up doing. Once the U.S. began striking ISIS from the air in August 2014, there was an enormous surge in Islamic State recruitment.
years of darkness and brutality of the self-proclaimed Islamic State have left deep wounds that will take time to heal, especially among the Yazidi and Christian communities. For months, Pascal Warda, a Christian and former Iraqi minister, has been listening to and compiling the testimonies of the torture suffered, especially by women.
Many girls and women who were with them, and they were most tortured, and all things we thought we heard about Yazidis, they did to Yazidis, they did to Christians. Just Christians were less than Yazidis. Yazidis were a big number.
Hundreds of these women are still missing. Some have been rescued from the last remaining strongholds of ISIS. The terrorists have almost been defeated by the military. However, there is still fear that they will return to attack again if the jihadist mentality is not fought at the root.
The spirit that exists already is there. Any Muslim who will not see his neighbor like his brother, like citizens, like partnership in the same land and the same rights, he can do this in any time. Mosul never was without Christian, and they say we didn't see Mosul without Christian. We are very unhappy that Christians are not here. So this is the communities who lived together, who were converted to another thing while ISIS was there.
In 2017, the city was liberated from the grip of extremists. However, the return of Christians is slow since Mosul is still practically in ruins. Pascal calls for a political compromise in which the rights of all Iraqis are respected and recognized. In this way, the country can also be rebuilt from the moral debacle.
We can to respect this cohabitation, this coexistence, this brotherhood, because we feel brothers. Because during Daesh, I am Christian in Baghdad. I welcomed so many Muslims, Shia and Sunni, in my house to protect them in my house and not to leave them to be killed one by the other.
The former Iraqi minister visited Rome to participate in a meeting on the future of religious minorities in the Middle East. It was organized by the Social Promotion Foundation.
لا وجود لداعش، لا وجود عسكري لداعش في العراق، هلا في خلايا في بقايا، ولا وجود عسكري لداعش في سوريا، بضل في خلايا وفي بقايا، ممكن بالصحراء، ممكن ببعض المناطق، ولا وجود لداعش وجود عسكري في لبنان. طبعا هذا انتصار عظيم، هذا انتصار عظيم. هلا أنا بدي أعلق بس على النفاق الأمريكي في هذا الموضوع. للأسف الشديد مين بده يطلع الليلة أو بكرة ويعلن النصر التاريخي والحاسم على داعش؟ مين؟ المنافق الأكبر في الكرة الأرضية، الرئيس الأمريكي ترامب. هذا أمر مؤسف، هذا أمر محزن. يعني شوفوا النفاق والوقاحة تصل إلى هذا الحد وإلى هذا المستوى. ليه؟ شو الدليل تبعي؟ دليل تبعي أنه بلبنان أمريكا ما لها علاقة بمعركة داعش، بل ذكرت لكم سابقا أنها كانت تمنع من هذه المعركة وتضغط على الدولة اللبنانية. في العراق أمريكا هي التي أوجدت داعش باعتراف ترامب نفسه، وفي شهادات لكبار جنرالات أمريكيين ومسؤولين كبار في CIA أن الإدارة الأمريكية في زمن أوباما وكلينتون هم الذين أوجدوا داعش، أوجدوها وأخرجوا قادتها من السجون، وطلبوا من السعودية والإمارات ودول خليجية أخرى أن يقدموا لها المال، وطلبوا من تركيا ودول أخرى أن يفتحوا لها الحدود ويعطوها تسهيلات. أمريكا هي التي صنعت داعش في العراق وامتدت إلى سوريا، وكان مشروعهم أن تسيطر داعش على العراق وأن يتخذوا من داعش ذريعة للعودة إلى احتلال العراق، ولكن العراقيين عطلوا هذه المؤامرة. في معركة العراق الأمريكيون كانوا عامل تأخير لحسم المعركة مع داعش، وكانوا يريدون لهذه المعركة أن تستمر 10 سنين و15 سنة من أجل أن ينهبوا أموال العراق وثروات العراق ويبتزوا العراق ويبنوا قواعد عسكرية في العراق. أما في سوريا، أنت يا أمريكان وين قتلتوا داعش؟ هلا شوي بشرق الفرات. كانت القوات تريد أن تتقدم لتقضي على داعش وتصل إلى الحدود العراقية. من الذي منعها؟ الأمريكيون. ترامب اللي بده يطلع اليوم ويقول أنا قضيت على داعش. أنت يا سيد ترامب منعت القضاء على داعش وحسم المعركة مع داعش بعد تحرير البوكمال ودير الزور، وأنت طولت عمر داعش 15 شهر لأنك كنت تريد توظيف داعش في شرق الفرات مجددا ضد سوريا وضد العراق ولم تستطع. هذا المنافق سيعلن اليوم القضاء على داعش، وهم كما صنعوا القاعدة ثم أعلنوا القضاء على القاعدة، وكما مولوا صدام حسين وأعطوه أسلحة الدمار الشامل ليقتل بالسلاح الكيميائي شعبه والأكراد من شعبه والإيرانيين، ثم قضوا عليه بحجة سلاح الدمار الشامل. وهذا ما يعلنونه اليوم أو غدا فيما يتعلق بداعش. اسمحوا لي أن أقول الذي حرر المنطقة ودفع خطر داعش الإرهابي الإجرامي الوحشي ومشروعها الظلامي الأسود عن المنطقة هو محور المقاومة، دول المقاومة، جيوش المقاومة، حركات المقاومة، وليس هذا المنافق الأمريكي الذي جاء في آخر الخط ليصنع لنفسه موقعا للشراكة في الانتصار ويقول أنه يحارب الإرهاب وقضى على داعش، بدل أن تحاكم أمريكا على جريمتها في صنع داعش وتتحمل كل المسؤولية التي على الجرائم التي ارتكبتها داعش في منطقتنا.
But let's be careful what we sow because we will harvest.
بحبك يا لبنان يا وطني، بحبك باسمك